Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello everybody at home and welcome to Houselights, House of Anderson Revisited. We are taking a sidestep here. We're stepping away from our current house and are going back and revisiting Wes Anderson films by talking about 2023's Asteroid City. And I am your co-host Tristan Riddell, and with me as he always is John Mills.
That's right. I am here. And in case anybody is wondering, Tristan and I were around for House of Anderson, and it's sort of a tradition that every so often when we need to, we'll revisit a house and let Darren take a little nap in the corner over there. He needs his beauty rest, and we try to respect that. Dr. Sci-Fi is always busy. He's always creating. So we figured we'd give him a break, and we'd go back to the quirky house of Wes Anderson and revisit
the precocious,
it.
If you will.
See what color he painted the new room. Is it turquoise? Is it teal? Is it possibly a pale yellow? We don't know until we explore.
Sunflower, periwinkle, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah, this one came out at the time of this recording. Came out in the previous year. It is 1 hour and 45 minutes, rated PG-13, standard Wes Anderson, Roman Coppola film. Again, starring so many people. We got Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Maya Hawke, Rupert Friend, Hope Davis, Steve Park, Liev Schreiber, and I think, did I mention Steve Carell's in there too?
Yeah, we got Margot Robbie in there in a small role. We got Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, of course, makes an appearance, I think by contractual obligation or something. He's like, you know what? He's like the Robert Downey Jr. of MCU, but of Wes Anderson. So
I was going to say like the Michael Caine of
yes,
Nolan.
There you go. I like that. That's better. Yes, he's the Michael Caine of the Wes Anderson verse. Yeah, that works. That totally works.
So this was your first time watching this?
Yes, it was.
Correct.
Yes,
in preparation for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen this once before. Like this came out. I did not see this in theater. And this was my second time watching it. I'd only seen it once before.
Wait, was this was released in theaters? I thought it was straight to streaming.
Was it straight to streaming? I can't.
No,
remember.
it can't be. It can't be because it had box office.
It had a box office. Yeah.
Okay.
This one had a budget of $25 million and it made back almost $54 million. So it just barely doubled its budget, which is like the low hanging fruit of trying to make a profit in terms of box office. But as we were saying before we started recording, you don't make a Wes Anderson film to make money.
Very true. Very true. You make a Wes Anderson movie in the hopes that you're going to get praise and adulation, and you're going to be known as the hip studio. Hey, what's up, fellow kids? I too make clever indie movies that you can relate to. They're quirky and they're funny. Hey, look. Yes, that's why you make it.
Just as a review, like as John was talking about, we did the House of Anderson a long time ago, and we like to revisit it. And we'll probably revisit House of Nolan sometime in the future.
We must.
As well. Yeah. So we can talk about Oppenheimer. But for Rushmore, I gave a 2.5. You gave a 5. Royal Tenenbaums, I gave a 5. You gave a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Life Aquatic, I gave a 5. You gave a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Darjeeling Limited was 3 and then 2.
Yep.
Fantastic Mr. Fox was 4.5 and a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Moonrise Kingdom was 3 and a 2.5. Grand Budapest 2.5 and a 5.
When we differ, we really differ there, Tristan. We really do.
Isle of Dogs was 3 across the board. And this was another one that pissed you off. I gave the French Dispatch a 4 and you gave it a 2.5.
Still mad, actually. Still very angry about that. Actually, not as angry as it turns out about Rushmore and Grand Budapest Hotel, because like we fancy ourselves Wes Anderson fans. Yes, it took me a long time to get around to this one, but I have very fond memories. Like audience, if you want to go back and listen to the Rushmore episode where I just effusively talk about all of the wonderful memories I have of that movie. I saw that movie 2 times. I saw it one night and then I went back the next night with my girlfriend and we watched it again. That's how much I loved Rushmore right out of the gate. Grand Budapest, all of that's like absolutely. I'm a Wes Anderson fan, but we differ, and it's weird how we differ because when we differ, it's drastic. Like it's really drastic. So I'm actually very interested in where this is going to go because I already know where I landed, and I'm just waiting to see where you landed. Because if we follow a trend, well, we're in for humdinger, folks.
Well, so here's the thing: is that like we often use Darren as a buffer
That's
when we either like a movie or don't like a movie, or we try to play it coy, where we talk about what we like and what we didn't like, but we don't really let on if we liked it or hated it or was in the middle.
Yes.
I see. With it just being the two of us, you were texting me while you were watching the film.
Yes, I was.
About how much you hated it.
Yes. Yes, I was. I, like you, hate having my phone anywhere near me. And I was having such a miserable time by about 30 minutes into the movie that I walked up and I went and I got my phone so that I could just, I think a part of me was just trying to blame you for it, was trying to take it out on someone. And I couldn't, my wife, great soul that she is, if I went over and started complaining, she'd be like, I didn't tell you to watch it. What's wrong? And I'd be like, you know what? There is one person I can take this out on, and it's Tristan. And I could just reach out and touch it through text message.
And that's the thing is that like I don't have to pretend like I don't know. Like,
that's true.
How you thought about this.
The pretense is gone.
And so when I first saw this movie, when I saw Asteroid City, so like here's how it's described in IMDb. Following a writer on his world-famous fictional play about a grieving father who travels with his tech-obsessed family to small rural Asteroid City to compete in a junior stargazing event, only to have his worldview disrupted forever. There's a lot going on in that sentence. I mean, and that's the thing is that like this movie is it's layered very oddly, where it's narrated by Bryan Cranston, like a TV special, talking about how the play was made, like the writing process behind the play. And then in some, we see some behind the scenes of the play. But then we actually see like the movie version of that play. So it's almost like Inception if Wes Anderson did it.
I hate that you put it that way because I love Inception and I want to keep this movie far away from it for fear that it might poison it somehow. I get what you're saying with that. I don't think it's as artfully done as Inception.
Well, that's not what I was saying.
No, I know, but I'm going to purposely misinterpret just so I can start kicking the movie now. But the entire conceit, I think, turned me off from the beginning because it is way too much of a self-referential wink. The very opening where Bryan Cranston and his magnificent voice and delivery tell me, we're going to tell you the behind the scenes thing. Nothing started unraveling at that point, but my reaction was, uh-oh, because it was a director signaling to me, I know how to be clever. And that instantly set me against it. Did that poison my reaction through the rest of the movie? Possibly, because I just thought the conceit was an error. I think that if you want to have a conceit like this, it should be done much more along the lines of Stranger Than Fiction, where you're going through and it's weird, and then suddenly you find out that it's being constructed by these people who are at an arm's length. So I think there was a way to do this, but it wasn't this way. I think that the whole thing immediately is a paper tiger, and I'm just waiting for the wind to blow it down from the get-go. And I think that's unfortunate because I always want to give the benefit of the doubt that there was a kernel of an idea there. Like I can see it. I can see the clever idea. And I think that if anything, this movie is guilty of overthinking it and trying too hard. So, and that opening immediately told me it was going to try too hard.
This was a solidification of what is now neo Wes Anderson, where we have retro Anderson with Rushmore, Tenenbaums, and Life Aquatic. And then he starts branching out a little bit more with a certain type of style with Darjeeling Limited. And it's completely different with his animated works like Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs. That's a separate style all its own. But then like Darjeeling Limited was kind of like was what I was the beginning of what I say was modern Wes Anderson. And Moonrise Kingdom was much more of that. I think that was the solidification of modern Wes Anderson, where it has that presentational narrator to it. It's like the guy just standing in front of the camera talking about it kind of awkwardly in the scene, not in the scene kind of thing. And it's much more Darjeeling Limited was very much rooted in reality, but Moonrise had the animation aspects to it, like the crazy tableaus and mise-en-scenes of just like 2D flat vistas that were clearly like trying to look like animation or paper and everything like that. And then you have Grand Budapest, which was kind of going back, kind of blending that presentational, theatrical style of Moonrise and Darjeeling. And then French Dispatch is like, oh, this is this where we abandon modern Anderson and we're going into that neo territory of everything's disjointed, everything's presentational, things are like we have an animation within a story within somebody retelling that story, and it's really segmented. And then Asteroid City is just off the rails of him saying, I have this idea and it's going to go in 15 different directions.
Yes. I think I think that is an incredibly good way to put it. It's like a brainstorming meeting at work where everybody keeps talking and nobody stands up at some point and says, okay, stop. I need to start writing down some things and we need to pick a direction here. I think the way you just put it is exactly right, where it's nobody says no at any point. There's no focus. There is no guiding principle to this story. And I think that additionally there is, I'll just go ahead and say it, it's a horrible word to throw at somebody, but there's a pretension about this film that absolutely really gets under my skin, because it tries really hard at the end to force like this profound observation about the nature of life. And it's so unearned.
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. Is that what I think that's what it is?
That is one of the worst lines I've heard in modern film. Like, I haven't seen that many films in the last 5 years, but of the films I've seen in the last 5 years, that is, I will throw a dart right at the board, and that is the line that I'm going to hit with the line I enjoyed the least of all of them. All of them. And I've seen some bad movies, folks, but like that line got under my skin so badly because it was just like when I was in college and one of the other theater students thought they were a lot deeper than they actually were. And it just sets my teeth on edge. It's this faux intellectualism that absolutely grinds my, now I'm Peter Griffin. I got to tell you what grinds my gears. It just really did. It got under my skin so severely. It was just, it was like the final slap in the face at the end of it all. I was like, oh, of course we did this. Sure.
Do you remember the 70s movie Love Story?
No, I've never seen it. I've never seen it, but yeah.
There's a line in it. You probably have heard the line. And they repeat it a few times in the movie. But like the hook of the movie is, and I'm going to get this wrong. It's love means never having to say you're sorry. Mm-hmm. And like they just repeated that all the time. It was in the marketing material. It was like known for that. It's like love means never having to say you're sorry. And I'm like, not only is that patently false.
True. I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Like, not only is it wrong, it's the opposite of correct. Like, love means you say sorry all the time. It doesn't make any sense. And like, you know that when the writer stumbled upon that, he's just like, oh my God, I'm such a good writer. This is amazing. I have behold truth in the human existence. And that's the same feeling that I got when they started chanting that at the end about falling asleep and waking up.
That is a brilliant line to draw. That is a brilliant line to draw between them. I applaud you. You are exactly right, because that line also gets. I may have never seen Love Story, but I am familiar with that line. And every time I've heard the line, I have the same reaction. I'm like, that's complete bull. What are you talking about? Never having to say you're sorry. Yeah, okay. All right, sure. Yeah, try that one out. Let's see how it works for you. Sure. Okay.
So you talked about how you got a little grazed at the beginning. You were just kind of like, ooh, I don't know about that one. When did you start rocking in your chair? When were you going like, okay, Wes, what are we doing here? When do you think that happened for you?
I gave him a lot of grace, all the way up to, like, I was even holding on when, you have the car thing and it's going on in the service station. I'm still holding on. And I think probably, and this is one of those things where I think it's going to be an odd moment to pick, but I think the moment when the car races through the road that goes through town with the cop chasing them, and you hear the gunfire, and I think to myself, oh no, that's never going to have anything to do with anything, is it? It's just a love mark to say, wasn't that quirky? That, I think, is the exact moment when it went by the first time where I went, oh dear, nope, I sized this up correctly.
That's pretty early on. Like,
yes, it
I'm
sure is.
Surprised at how early on that is. Because for me, I can't remember exactly. It was around like either 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, when the kids were all sitting outside together, and they during the name game, like where they had to remember all these famous people and like all these scientists and everything like that, and the scene just kept going and kept going on. That's when I was like, what the hell are we doing here? This scene is still going on, and I understand that these kids are precocious. Yes, I've seen a Wes Anderson film before. I get it. And one of my favorite films of all time, I'm talking about a top 10 film, is The Royal Tenenbaums. I get it. Like, it's entertaining, it's fun, but it just felt like such a departure. It just, when you never want to think in a Wes Anderson film, why are we still in this scene?
Yes.
And not often do I feel that way, because there's so many times when, even if something is not integral to the plot in an Anderson film, you can still sit back and be entertained by, I hate whenever I use this word, but the vibe of it and the feeling of it. You can just let a Wes Anderson film wash over you. You're like, I'm sitting down. It's going to be quirky. It's going to be nonsensical. It's going to be its own thing. I'm just gonna go into Wes Anderson's mind for about 2 hours, and then it'll be fine. But with Asteroid City, there were so many times when I was like, what are we doing?
Yes.
What are we doing here? And that was the biggest one. I think that's when we still had an hour left. I was like, man, I didn't even make it to the halfway mark before I gave up. And that's the thing to me, is I was like, he had me. Like, I was in with the Bryan Cranston thing, even though I didn't really dig on the voice that he was doing. You liked the voice that he was doing more than I did. But I dug the whole, like, oh no, these are the stage act. We're seeing the movie version of the stage play. Like, I'm in on that. Like, you and I both are big theater people. And I love the idea of that, and like seeing the writing process behind it. Like, like I was just like, okay, cool. Yeah. You have me. But then when we meander so much, within the film of the film. And I think that's what really got to me, is that if I was seeing that scene live, the kids sitting around doing the names, it probably would be interesting and impressive. But I'm not seeing it live. I'm seeing it, in a movie, two different mediums. And so I think that's the risk that you pull, is that like some of this stuff would have worked really great live on stage, but not in a movie.
I think that's fair. This is going to sound weird, but I think another thing, as long as we're talking about specific stuff that didn't work for us and, like it gives us trouble latching on, is I think it's very obvious that Tom Hanks is in what I would call the Bill Murray role. And it's much more suited to a Bill Murray performer than Tom Hanks.
Are you trying to be funny, or
No.
that was supposed to be Bill Murray?
I could tell. I didn't know that, but I'm like, if Bill Murray, I can honestly tell you, probably this movie gets a whole other star if Bill Murray's in that role.
He got COVID right before they started filming.
Ah, jeez.
And so this was made in the middle of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And so he like, and this was when this was, I think this was shot like early on when they're like, holy crap. And Bill Murray is a man of a certain age. And so he was really, of course, he was really chagrined that he couldn't do it. And I mean, not saying that Bill Murray's name is a slouch, but like to get Tom Hanks to fill in for Bill Murray, that's a huge get. But it was totally a Bill Murray role. Like it almost makes you angry, even though I'm a huge Tom Hanks fan, because who isn't? Because I'm an American. But it's just you can see Bill Murray,
but
it would have made it so much better.
But see, this is where you also get the opportunity to be a little bit George Lucas, because if you're a little bit George Lucas, then what you do is you just use somebody to read the lines on set, and then you take a portable blue screen when the actor is available and you film them, and then you comp them in, just like C.O. Bibble in episode 2, where they had somebody on set in case it didn't work out. But then Oliver Ford Davies, they're like, oh, you got an opening in your schedule. Cool. And they fly out with a portable blue screen. They're like, walk this far as you say the line, and then walk this far when you say this next line, and we'll just put you in. And I had no idea they did it until I watched like the making of. And I was like, oh my God, he wasn't even on set. They could have done that here. Which
is really interesting, because with the triplets,
yeah,
they filmed them. Like, if you notice, like when you're watching the movie, the triplets never touch each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're never like shoulder to shoulder. They're never like linking arms or hand in hand or anything like that. They're always separated, because they filmed them at different times so that they could make sure that the lines had a certain rhythm, because Wes Anderson films
Mm-hmm.
are all about the rhythm. It's all about the rhythm of delivery. And you can't do that with young triplets. And
True.
So they would crop the performances together to get that rhythm. And there's this one nighttime scene. I actually texted you a picture of it.
Yep.
It's this nighttime scene of the triplets and Tom Hanks together, talking about burying the ashes. And if you look at it, like, Tom Hanks is not there. Like, he is green screened in, and so they totally could have done that. And if you think about Tom Hanks in this movie, like, there's so many times when he's separate from like the opening phone call. Totally could have done at a later time.
Yeah.
Or even the conversation that he has with Schwartzman when Schwartzman is sitting on the car and Hanks is off on the side. Again, I'm not saying that they should have done this. I'm not saying like, oh, we should have like Asteroid City revisited. Just saying it's something that you totally could have done if you wanted to. Although, like, a one poor example is when Zack Snyder put Tig Notaro in that god-awful zombie movie he made.
All right, full stop. That was not a god-awful zombie movie. But yes, I agree with you that dropping in Notaro, that was a tough call. That was a tough one.
I'm a huge Tig fan. Huge. One of the biggest. But that was weird, because she stuck out like a sore thumb in the movie, like visually and auditorily.
It didn't play as well as it could have.
Yeah.
I will give you that much. It didn't play as well as it could have. But I think, yes, I don't. The thing is, it does feel disrespectful to come at Tom Hanks like that. But I'm not coming at Tom. I'm not coming at Tom Hanks. I'm just saying, I look at that and I say, oh, that's Bill Murray's part. Why wouldn't you go the extra mile and say, okay, as soon as you feel better, right, just come on down and we'll film you solo on the set, and we can comp.
It's like watching Godfather Part 3, and you're like, that's totally Robert Duvall's part. What is going on?
Yeah, I know.
Maybe a little different. It's a little different, but the same idea.
More tan, a little more hair.
What did you think of Scarlett Johansson in this? Because she's a Wes Anderson newbie.
I don't think that she brings the energy that a Wes Anderson movie wants.
Explain that answer.
I applaud her for Scarlett Johansson is a fine actress. I'm not saying, again, I am not dragging her at all. I've seen her in a lot of stuff where I enjoy her. But I think that there's a certain artifice that's very tricky to pull off in a Wes Anderson movie. Jason Schwartzman has been working with Wes Anderson for 3,000 years. He knows how to play that. Wes Anderson calls him up. He's like, Jason, I got it. Yeah. They don't even need to have a meeting beforehand. Schwartzman can just walk on and like read the script. He's like, I know how I'm supposed to do this. Not fair to compare to him. But there's she has a much, like if you look at it in terms of arcs, in terms of energy, she has a much more understated energy than is necessary for this. There's a slightly caffeinated aspect to a Wes Anderson character, and she's a little too mellow. And it's not her fault. It's the type of energy that she brings. She's got great screen presence. If this were a naturalistic role, if I were looking at this and somebody else makes if somebody else makes Asteroid City and they strip away the Bryan Cranston part and it's just this quirky little thing about people in the desert, that's Scarlett Johansson, and that's how she was playing it, and it would have been perfect for that movie. It's not perfect for this one. It needs that slightly restrained freneticism and awareness of the fourth wall breaking, whereas she's playing it a little too earnestly, I guess is what I'm saying.
You think she's playing it too earnestly? Really?
Maybe I'm using the word wrong. I don't know. But like,
I don't know if earnest is the right word
probably
for her performance, because I think you had it correctly when you said like it needs to be a little bit more caffeinated. Like there needs to be a little bit more jittery energy to it. But I have to say, Asteroid City is probably the most deadpan Wes Anderson film in terms of delivery. Am I wrong in that? Because I felt like everybody had super low energy compared to previous works. Now, I know that that's a staple, like the kind of dry delivery, matter-of-fact delivery is very Wes Anderson, but this felt even lower.
See, I would turn it around, but the thing is, it won't work for you when I reference Grand Budapest Hotel, because I would look at Ralph Fiennes in that, and Tony Revolori in the Grand Budapest Hotel. Everybody in the Grand Budapest Hotel actually brings that delivery that is deadpan and very, not deadpan per se. I disagree with deadpan in that movie, but that's the type of thing that I'm looking for in somebody in here. You're saying you see everybody as sort of more ScarJo's level here in terms of the energy, or
no. That's not what I was saying. I was saying that I think she was definitely the lowest out of everybody on set. I think she had the lowest energy, absolutely. But in terms of other Anderson movies, on a whole, this movie had much deader delivery. Like I think if you look at Schwartzman, if you look at Hanks absolutely had deadpan delivery. Maya Hawke, even Rupert Friend, Liev Schreiber was straight laced. I think the only person who kind of had energy was Jeffrey Wright when he gave his speech.
You know, I'll give a nod to Adrian Brody. I think he gave the most strangely appropriate performance for this movie.
He did. He really did. And also Hope Davis, I think, who was, I think she had a very thankless role in this, and I thought she brought a lot of humor to it. Like I think the scene that really worked for me between her and Scarlett Johansson when Davis was waiting for the shower and Johansson comes up to her and she says like, I really liked you in that movie. Oh, thank you. I really thought you did. Oh, thank you. You know, she just kept saying like, she kept cutting her off and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it ends with, you know, like, I liked it even though nobody else did. She's like, and then there's this pause.
Yeah.
Well, other people did like it. That kind of rhythm and that kind of deadpan delivery was, I think, very appropriate for the movie, and what I would have liked to have seen more from Scarlett Johansson. And instead, we get this ennui state of mind when she's sharing those conversations between the windows with her and Jason Schwartzman, which I do like, which I do enjoy, but the tonality was very different from what you normally see.
I didn't enjoy it at all.
No,
No.
that's, oh my gosh, when she says like, I do a nude scene, do you want to see it? And he goes, he doesn't say anything, and she goes, what? And he's like, did I not say anything? Did I say yes?
I didn't. It didn't work for me. I didn't get on that wavelength at all. I think Anderson movies are known for having that sort of quirky, nice relationship, and I didn't feel any energy between Johansson and Schwartzman through the entire thing.
I think I have to agree with you on that. Even though I like the repartee between the two of them, the chemistry wasn't quite there between the two of them, especially when they said that we find out that they had a sexual component to the relationship.
Yeah.
That felt weird. I was like, why? Like it felt out of place. And it was, it's like, there's so much of this movie that I want to like, and that the pieces are there, but then when they're put together, you're like, I see what you were going for, but it didn't quite land.
Yeah. I like the way you put it. I see what you were going for. It's like an art project where you know that the person who put it together can put together like a really good, I don't know, some type of craft, sculpture or, display piece or painting or however you want to say it. And you can see the talent behind it, but the work itself is just flat. It doesn't gel in the right way. And if somebody comes to you and says, in what way didn't it gel properly? Usually I would say, oh, well, I can't quite tell, but I can tell you right off the bat, Schwartzman and Johansson, I don't buy any chemistry between them. Is that supposed to be some sort of meta commentary because Schwartzman is also playing Jones Hall, who had the relationship with Conrad Earp, who was the playwright who was writing the play? Is that supposed to be some sort of meta commentary about somebody playing a role where they love it? Well, if so, then all of the charm of that part of the movie is kind of gone because you never double back to the whole thing between Earp and Hall. So why did you even introduce it?
That was really strange that we didn't go back to that, or we didn't have some sort of bookend with it.
Right.
It's just like, why do we have that there? Like that's an interesting dynamic, like the writer having a lover in the show.
Right.
And, like it was just as interesting as Adrian Brody, like living, on the set, or like live like, and
right.
Because he's separated from his wife. That was a nice scene that we had. Like, even though they were separated, they still loved each other, but it wasn't enough. She still had comments on the play, like, oh, have her say this at this line. Like that was a very real moment. And, like having a lover who's an actor, then putting them in the play, that's a very real human connection. And also on top of it, like having it take place in the past and being gay or queer in some fashion in itself is interesting, but to not go back to it or reference it or like just have it kind of just hang in the air, it was very confusing. And I felt like an idiot when Schwartzman first came on, and he's like, Edward Norton and Schwartzman are together and they have the ice cream together. And I'm just like, I'm getting kind of a gay vibe going on.
Right.
I'm like, well, yeah, you idiot. Yeah. I wonder why you're getting a gay vibe. And then all of a sudden, he's feeding him ice cream and then they kiss. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, there's a reason. But
I mean, and there's a whole way they could have done it, because if Conrad Earp is writing it, then the scenes where Scarlett Johansson and Schwartzman are interacting with each other in that moment, you could have even done a like a contrast sort of thing where you see Schwartzman much lower energy interacting with Scarlett Johansson, quote unquote, on stage, but then you suddenly see Norton there, and you get this idea of there's more energy and connection in the scene when the two people that have the connection are there, however you wanted to arrange it. And it wouldn't have mattered.
Or like Johansson's character is the stand-in for Earp himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
what
like,
you're saying. Okay.
So you get like a flash of Earp at a certain point, and then you see Schwartzman more energetic and more engaged. And then it cuts back to Johansson, and you see how much harder he has to work to get to that point. That's an interesting way to approach it. But I think it would have been, this thing eats itself on all of the sort of fourth wall breaks that it builds. And this thing is like a black hole. You mentioned Nolan earlier. I'd much rather go back and watch Oppenheimer again, because this thing is a black hole that collapses on itself. I think it starts spinning around this Wes Anderson, Roman Coppola core, and then it just keeps spinning faster and like it's the top that's spinning faster and faster until it falls down, but it never falls down. It's like the end of Inception. Hey, look, another Nolan reference that we made earlier, right? I'm watching this thing by the end, waiting for it to fall apart, and then frustrated that it never comes together instead, which is a completely different type of frustration with a movie. If a movie falls apart, I can distance myself intellectually in a way and approach it like a textbook case and sort of at least enjoy it from I see where you should have moved that. I see where you should have done that. Whereas I look at this and you're like, well, what would you have done to fix it? Because that's the favorite game anybody that talks about movies loves to play. How would you have fixed this? And I look at it, I'm like, I don't think I can. I don't think anybody can. This is just doomed from the beginning. And it doesn't make sense to me why it is doomed from the beginning, specifically because, like, I look at Grand Budapest, I've forgotten about French Dispatch. I've been assured I should try it again. But that's the problem, I think, for me, is if Nolan were ever, God forbid, to have a misfire of a movie, I'd be very puzzled, because I'm like, look what you just did. How did this happen? And it's one of those things where it's a frustrating watch for me, because I can't tell you how it should have been done. I can't figure out what's wrong with it. I'm the mechanic at the beginning of the movie. Oh, if it's just this, then it's no big problem to fix. But if it's not that, it's a bigger problem to fix. And then something goes wrong. Well, what is it? I don't know. This is a third type of problem. I have no idea what's going on here. That's how
honestly,
I feel.
I think that's a really good analogy for this movie overall, where you're just like, you're on board and you're like, okay, this is a Wes Anderson film. There's going to be something wrong with it, but it's only going to cost you 75 cents to fix it. And then you're like, you get further into it, you're like, oh damn, okay, no, we're 40 minutes in, and we're still stretching it. Like this is gonna be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be an expensive fix. And then all hell breaks loose, and the movie just kind of ends. And you're like, yeah, this is a third problem. I think that's the thing, is that the movie just ends. It doesn't really say anything. It doesn't have, it tries to say something and fails. But it doesn't have anything to say. There's nothing behind it. We don't feel like really there's been any journey for some of these characters. And, the Margot Robbie scene was kind of a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just kind of over and done with. You're like, oh, that was nice. And then we move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in the Adrian Brody scene, so you have that whole section right there. We go from Adrian Brody to Margot Robbie, and you're like, man, that was really cool. Like that was really well done. But at the same time, like if we wanted to quote unquote fix this movie, I think one way to try to fix it is just make it linear.
Mm-hmm.
And like if we make it linear, we just keep it as in Asteroid City, like just the film. Or if we go with what they did with like Grand Budapest, where just stick to it, where it's like we see the behind the scenes making of the quote unquote play, kind of like, okay, here we go. All right, here we go. You remember in White Christmas when they're at the general's farm and his hotel, his resort or whatever, and they do these huge Hollywood numbers. We're talking like gigantic sets. Everyone's dancing around like crazy. And we're talking like $1 million room. And then the dance number's over and they're just like in his show space in his barn.
Mm-hmm.
So have them put on the play that is Asteroid City. We see the behind the scenes with Adrian Brody. We see the behind the scenes with Margot Robbie. Like that all really happens. Like we see these people go about their lives trying to put on the play. But when the play is going on, it's the movie that we see. And if we just stick to that stuff, maybe that would work.
The two of us, I think I had a reference fire in my brain as you were saying that, is there's sort of a noises off opportunity where you have, you're familiar with noises off? Oh,
no, I'm not.
It's an incredible comedy. It's great live. It's one of the best shows you can see. It's one of the funniest things you'll ever see if you see a live production. And the movie version has Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve in it. And John Ritter too, I think. That's well worth it. And the whole thing is, at one point, a play is going on while the drama backstage is going on. And I think that you're describing that same sort of vibe where you can have a real world while the play is going on, and the play and the real world work with each other. So you have a fourth wall break without breaking the fourth wall sort of thing going on. And I think that's where I think you're right. And I would encourage you or anybody else listening, if you ever say, should I watch Asteroid City? Trust your friend John. He's going to say no. Go ahead and seek out a copy of Noises Off. The film version's fine. Go and watch that instead, because that I think is a distillation of maybe what Anderson was trying to go for with this. And when you started describing that, that's what I immediately thought of. So I would encourage, not to tip my hand, still being coy if you haven't pieced together how I was reacting to the movie, but go watch Noises Off instead. You'll like that better.
All right. I think we've gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Now, it feels wrong to do the Lance Reddick without Darren.
Yeah, we'll skip that part this time. Yeah.
So I think we're just going to go right into ratings, and I'm actually going to go first.
Please, by all means.
So when I watched the movie for the first time, I watched it with my wife, and I was like, okay, all right, it's fine. Like, it was entertaining. It wasn't great. And my wife was like, really? Like, okay. like she said, like, what would you give it? I was like, I'd give it 3 stars. She's like, wow, that's really generous. And so, like, on my letterbox, it was 3 stars. And then in preparation for this podcast, I watched it again. I was like, man, I was really generous with those 3 stars. Like, there's a lot wrong with this movie. Okay, I'll give it 2.5. And then as I'm looking back at my ratings and talking about it with you, I was like, wait, I gave Rushmore 2.5. I gave I gave Grand Budapest 2.5.
Monster.
That's the thing, is that, like, Grand Budapest, like Rushmore is not my thing, but it's a well-made movie. Grand Budapest is fine, but it's not my favorite. There's no way I can give Asteroid City the same ranking as Grand Budapest or Rushmore. And so I think I'm going to have to give it 2 stars, even though there are things in it that I enjoy, and I hate giving 2 stars. And I've never given a 2 star to a Wes Anderson film before. But I think that's where I'm going to have to land, is that there's 40 minutes of great stuff in this movie.
I have given a 2 star to a Wes Anderson movie before, Darjeeling Limited. And but before I go forward, I'm going to go ahead and throw out there that actually the Hollywood Critics Association Mid-Season Film Awards nominated this for Best Picture. So as did the Indiana Film Journalists Association, as did the IndieWire Critics Poll, as did I know there was somebody else that it got a few best cinematography things from some of those fringe awards sort of thing. Best science fiction fantasy movie from the Critics' Choice Super Awards. That was a nomination right there. I would say I disagree with that wholeheartedly. And this is a 1-star movie. Not only did I dislike this movie, not only will I never watch this movie, but if I were to encounter this movie in a darkened room, I would slap it because there would be no video evidence that I did. And really cannot stress enough how much I did not enjoy watching this. I was sorely disappointed that a Wes Anderson movie fell this flat for me. I will point out, just for fun, because I was doing that bit for fun, according to Wikipedia, this list is where it appeared on the best films of 2023 on different publications. New Yorker, Esquire, IndieWire, IGN, The Atlantic, RogerEbert.com, The New York Times, The Independent, The Film Stage, Vulture, Vanity Fair, IndieWire, Slant Magazine, Sight and Sound, and Mashable. My question is this. I don't think 2023 was that crappy a year for movies. Am I wrong? Just throwing it out there.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, folks, is that I did my research because I knew how much John hated this movie.
Boy,
and so
did
I went back and I looked up the other movies that he has rated as 1 star or even 1.5 on Houselights. So here are the movies that he has given 1 star.
Yes.
The Burbs,
Mm-hmm.
The Howling,
True.
1492.
Yep.
Guy Ritchie's King Arthur.
Oh, yes.
Wendell and Wild.
Oh, yeah.
And Moon 44.
Mm-hmm.
And Last Action Hero, because you're dead inside.
Yeah, true. I am.
And
Mad
here's the ones
Max. Mad Max was the one. Pretty sure.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Mad
Yep.
Max.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible movie. And then here's the one that he gave 1.5. He gave Mystery Men, Sure Thing,
Yeah.
James and the Giant Peach,
Yeah.
and Medicine Man.
Oh, yes.
1.5. So you liked Medicine Man more and Mystery Men more than Asteroid City.
Mystery Men at least tried to make me laugh, and Medicine Man has Sean Connery. So Sean Connery walking on screen gets you an extra half star. So there you go.
There you go. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for reopening the door of House of Anderson. We are looking forward to going back to our regular scheduled Houselights episodes next week, and maybe we'll revisit the Wes Anderson Netflix shorts for our next time that Darren goes on vacation. So until then, thank you so much, and this has been Houselights.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.